train doors slammed shut just as her fingers slipped from the cold metal rail. "Wait, please," she gasped, stumbling forward, but the train had already begun to move. Zina Okoye didn't look back. Her chest heaved as she staggered down the narrow aisle, one hand clutching her ribs, the other gripping a torn handbag. Blood had dried at the corner of her lip, and her left eye was beginning to swell. Passengers glanced at her, then quickly looked away. Nobody wanted trouble. Nobody ever did. She dropped into the nearest empty seat, her breath shaking. Across from her reflection in the window, she barely recognized the woman staring back. "You're nothing without me," Khalid Morgan's voice echoed in her head. "You don't even have a family. Who will take you in?" Her fingers tightened. For 5 years he had made her believe she was alone, and tonight she chose to run anyway. "First time running?" a calm voice said beside her. Zina flinched. She hadn't noticed him before. The man sitting next to her was dressed in black, his posture relaxed, his presence heavy. His face was unreadable, but his eyes, sharp, observant, had already taken in everything. "I didn't ask for help," Zina muttered, turning away. He didn't react. "Good," he said quietly, "because I don't give it freely." Silence fell again, thick and uncomfortable. But for the first time that night, Zina felt something strange, not fear, awareness, and somehow, safety. If this tension already has you hooked, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Would you have run too? Because Zina's story was just beginning, and the man beside her was far more dangerous than anything she had left behind. The train rattled through the darkness, each second stretching longer than the last. Zina kept her gaze forward, but her senses were alert. The man beside her hadn't moved. Not once. "Why are you staring?" she asked suddenly, her voice sharper than she intended. "I'm not," he replied. She turned. "I observe," he corrected calmly. Zina scoffed. "Observe something else. Your left wrist is sprained," he continued. "2 ribs, possibly cracked. And you hesitate before breathing deeply. You're in pain." Her jaw tightened. "Congratulations, you have eyes. And you have fear," he added. That hit harder. Zina swallowed, forcing herself to stay composed. "Everyone does. Not like yours." She didn't respond. The man leaned back slightly. "You ran from someone who thinks he owns you." Her heart skipped. "How? You keep checking the door, not the exits, the door." Zina froze. He was right. "I'm not interested in your story," he said, "but I recognize patterns." She looked at him carefully now. "Who are you?" He hesitated for just a second. Then, Joon-Seok. The name felt heavy. "Why tell me?" she asked. "Because if he finds you," Joon-Seok said quietly, "you will need to decide whether to remain a victim or become something else." Zina frowned. "Something else?" He turned his head slightly, meeting her eyes for the first time. Something he can never touch again. Her breath caught. Before she could respond, the train began to slow. A station approached, and with it, danger. The train screeched to a halt. Zina's heart dropped instantly. She didn't need to look, she felt it. "Stay seated," Joon-Seok said softly, but it was already too late. "Kina," a voice roared from the platform. Her blood ran cold. "Khalid." Passengers turned, whispering nervously as a tall man pushed through the crowd, rage burning in his eyes. "There you are," he barked, stepping onto the train. Zina stood abruptly. "Don't come near me." His expression twisted. "You think you can run from me?" "I already did." He laughed harshly. "You're mine. You don't get to leave." Joon-Seok didn't move, didn't speak, but his presence shifted, heavy, controlled, dangerous. Khalid grabbed Zina's arm. She winced. "Let go," she snapped. "You belong to me," he growled. "No," a calm voice cut in. Khalid paused. Slowly he turned to Joon-Seok. "And who the hell are you?" Khalid demanded. Joon-Seok stood unhurried. "Someone who doesn't repeat himself," he replied. The air changed instantly. Passengers began backing away. Khalid scoffed. "Stay out of this." Joon-Seok stepped closer. Not aggressive, not loud, but something in his presence made Khalid's grip loosen. "You're embarrassing yourself," Joon-Seok said quietly. Zina felt it then. Fear, not hers. Khalid's. "You don't know who you're dealing with," Khalid muttered. Joon-Seok's lips curved slightly. "I know exactly who I'm dealing with." Silence. Heavy. Then Joon-Seok leaned closer, whispering something only Khalid could hear. Whatever it was, it broke him. Khalid stepped back, just one step, but it was enough. Zina saw it. For the first time in 5 years, he was afraid. Khalid's grip slipped completely. "What did you say?" Zina whispered, stunned. Joon-Seok didn't answer. He simply watched Khalid. And Khalid backed away. "This isn't over," Khalid muttered, but his voice lacked conviction. Joon-Seok tilted his head slightly. "It is..." Something in his tone made it sound final. Khalid hesitated, then turned and walked off the train, just like that. Gone. Zina stood frozen. Her arm still throbbed where he had grabbed her, but something deeper shifted inside her chest. He left, she murmured. Yes, Joon-Seok said. Why? Because he understood something you didn't. She turned to him slowly. What? That power isn't loud. Her brows furrowed. It doesn't beg, he continued. It doesn't chase. It simply exists. Zina swallowed. And you just exist? A faint smile touched his lips. For now, the train began moving again. Zina sank back into her seat, her mind racing. You scared him, she said. No, Joon-Seok replied. I reminded him of consequences. She studied him carefully now. You're not just some man on a train. No. Then what are you? Joon-Seok looked out the window, his reflection blending with the darkness outside. A man who understands what happens when fear disappears. Zina leaned back slowly. And what happens? He turned to her again. You become unstoppable. For the first time, Zina believed it might be possible. The train finally reached its last stop. Zina hesitated as the doors opened. Where will you go? Joon-Seok asked. She laughed weakly. I don't even know where I came from anymore. He studied her for a moment. Then, come with me. Zina blinked. What? You need time, he said, and safety, and you just offer that to strangers? I don't offer it twice. She hesitated. Every instinct told her to be careful. But every memory of Khalid told her she had nothing left to lose. Fine, she said quietly. Joon-Seok nodded once. Outside, a sleek black car waited. Zina paused. You're serious? Always. She got in. The city lights blurred past as silence filled the car. Why me? She finally asked. Joon-Seok didn't look at her. Because you're still here. That's not an answer. It is. She frowned. You survived 5 years, he continued. Most don't. Zina looked away. I didn't survive, she whispered. I endured. Joon-Seok's voice softened. Just slightly. Then let me show you the difference. The car slowed. Ahead stood a towering building, guarded, silent, untouchable. Where are we? She asked. Somewhere no one takes what isn't theirs. Zina stepped out slowly. Her heart raced. Not from fear, but from something new. Possibility. The penthouse was nothing like Zina expected. It wasn't just luxury. It was control. Every detail felt intentional. Sit, Joon-Seok said. She obeyed without thinking. A woman entered moments later, tending to her injuries without questions. Zina winced as her ribs were wrapped. You'll heal, the woman said simply. Zina nodded. When they were alone again, silence returned. I don't understand you, Zina admitted. You don't need to. Joon-Seok replied. I do if I'm staying here. He leaned forward slightly. Then listened carefully. Her breath hitched. You were taught that being alone makes you weak, he said. Zina nodded slowly. It makes you free. She blinked. What? No attachments, no leverage, no chains. Her voice trembled. That sounds like loneliness. It's power. Zina stared at him. You don't need someone to save you, he continued. You need to decide you're worth saving. Her chest tightened. I don't even know who I am anymore, she whispered. Joon-Seok's gaze softened. Good, she frowned. Good. It means you can become anyone. Something inside her shifted again. Not fear, not pain, something stronger. Teach me, she said quietly. Joon-Seok studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Then we begin. Days turned into weeks. Zina changed. Not overnight, but steadily. Again, Joon-Seok said. She exhaled sharply, forcing herself to stand straighter. I'm trying. You're hesitating. Because I'm scared. Then use it. She glared at him. That's not how fear works. It is when you stop running from it. Zina clenched her fists. Look at me, he said. She did. You faced him once, Joon-Seok continued. You can do it again. Her voice was steady now. I won't run this time. Good. Their eyes held. And for a moment, something deeper passed between them. Unspoken, unfamiliar, dangerous. Zina looked away first. Why do you care so much? She asked. Joon-Seok paused. I don't, she scoffed. Liar. A faint smile touched his lips. Focus, he said, but the tension lingered. Not just teacher and student anymore. Something more. Something neither of them was ready to name. One night, everything shattered. They're here, a guard announced. Zina's body went still. Who? She asked. Joon-Seok's expression darkened. Khalid. Her heart slammed against her chest. And he's not alone. Gunfire echoed in the distance. Zina's breath quickened. This is my fault, she whispered. No, Joon-Seok said firmly. This is his mistake. Explosions shook the building. They brought a syndicate, a guard added. Joon-Seok stood. Stay here, he ordered. Zina grabbed his arm. No. His eyes flickered. I'm not hiding anymore, she said. Silence. Then, he nodded. Stay close. They moved together. Chaos filled the halls. Zina's pulse roared in her ears. Then, she saw him. Khalid. You think you can hide? He shouted. Zina stepped forward. No, she said calmly. I think I can end this. He laughed. You? She didn't flinch. I'm not yours anymore. His smile faded. Never was. Something in her voice broke him again. Khalid lunged forward, but he never reached her. Joon-Seok stepped in, swift and precise. Within seconds, it was over. Khalid was on the ground, defeated, panting, broken. Zina stared down at him. 5 years of fear. Gone. You lied to me, she said. He said nothing. You told me I had no one. Silence. Zina's voice steadied. I have myself. That was enough. Guards dragged Khalid away. This time, he didn't fight. Zina exhaled slowly. Her hands trembled, but her eyes didn't. Joon-Seok stepped beside her. It's done. She nodded, then looked at him. Really looked at him. You changed my life. No, he said softly. You did. Their eyes held. Longer this time. Deeper. And finally, Zina smiled. Then stay, she whispered. Joon-Seok hesitated, just for a second. Then, I was planning to. And just like that, something new began. Weeks later, the city felt different. So did Zina. She stood by the window, calm, unshaken. You're thinking again, Joon-Seok said behind her. She smiled. About everything. And? I'm not afraid anymore. He nodded. That's dangerous. She turned to him. So are you. A rare laugh escaped him. You've changed. So have you. Silence settled. Comfortable this time. Zina stepped closer. You never answered my question, she said. Which one? Why me? Joon-Seok studied her carefully. Then, because you saw me, her breath caught. And you didn't run. She smiled softly. I don't run anymore. Their distance closed, slowly, naturally. And when he finally kissed her, it wasn't rushed. It wasn't forced. It was earned, built from pain, strength, and something deeper than either of them expected. If you made it this far, go ahead and like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Would you have trusted him? Because sometimes, the most dangerous person you meet becomes the one who saves you. And sometimes, they become the one you fall in love with.